morning, everyone. It's Robert from On My Turntable, hoping you a great morning this morning. It is a Saturday morning, as always, a coffee kind of morning. Cheers, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. Was watching Mr. Glenn Calloway from the basement, as I always do. I try to support his channel as best I can. And he always shows some fantastic albums that I just have to have in my collection. Just like the Government Mule album that he showed a couple of days ago. Not only for the album itself, but for the price. But it doubled in price for some strange reason. He also showed another one. Was it yesterday or the day before? King Crimson's Reimagining the Court of the Crimson King. So I said, yeah, I got to have that one. So it's supposed to arrive today. Thank you, Glenn. I'll put the link below to Glenn's channel. Go over and like and subscribe and give him all kinds of love. I told him in my comment that I got to stop watching these videos because he's making me spend a lot of money. So, but I thought I'd show my King Crimson collection, both on vinyl and CD. It's not a huge collection, but it's pretty substantial and musically, and some of the best music I have in my collection for sure. If you don't know King Crimson, which I'm sure you do because your guys are super knowledgeable, an amazing English progressive rock band formed way back in '68 by Robert Fripp on guitars, remarkable guitarist, the Professor, Michael Giles on drums, Greg Lake, who went on to become part of Emerson, Lake and Palmer, on bass and vocals, Ian McDonald on sax and flute and clarinet and keyboards, and Peter Sinfield, who wrote the majority of the tracks. Robert Fripp remained the only consistent member throughout the band's history. Combination of progressive rock and art rock and experimental rock and post-progressive rock, whatever the heck that means. Remarkable stuff. Remarkable stuff. One of the greatest progressive rock bands out there ever, for sure. So unique. This was also a gift by Glenn. Thank you so much, Glenn. This is my introduction to King Crimson. This is their debut album, In the Court of the Crimson King, 1969 release. It's amazing. Jazz, classical, symphonic music. Regarded as one of the greatest progressive rock debuts out there. It's so good. Again, you've got Robert Fripp on all kinds of guitars, Ian McDonald on all kinds of wind instruments, does some lead vocals as well, backing vocals. Greg Lake, who does the majority of the lead vocals, bass guitar as well, an amazing bass player. Michael Giles on drums, and Peter Sinfield on lyrics. Rolling Stones listed this number 2 on the 50th greatest prog albums of all time, right behind Dark Side of the Moon, 1973's Dark Side of the Moon. And I totally agree. Totally agree. Their second album, In the Wake of the Poseidon, 1970 release. It's on the Red Atlantic label. This is a little different than In the Court of, because the band was going through some instabilities in their lineup, but still overall great production, great just a bunch of songs on here, just fantastic. Pretty much the same lineup as, but you got Keith Tippett on piano and Gordon Haskell on vocals as well. But fantastic. Robert Fripp also plays some mellotron and piano on this one. I don't have their third album, Lizard. There's a picture of it here. 1970 release. Fantastic. I do have Islands, the fourth album by the band. The only album to feature Robert Fripp, Mel Collins, Boz Burrell, and Ian Wallace. A lot of improvisationals at jazz on this one, and it's really, really good. Boz Burrell again, lead vocals, bass guitar. Ian Wallace on drums, co-lead vocals as well. Mel Collins again, all the horn instruments, and of course Mr. Fripp. Fantastic. I don't have Lark's Tongues and Aspect, the fifth album by the band, 1973 release. Also Starless and Bible Black, the sixth album. Some of these album titles are kind of strange. 1974 release. I do have one of my favorites, Red, the seventh album, 1974 release. This is a heavy, heavy album. It was listed as one of the 50th greatest, heaviest albums of all time. Of course, you've got Robert Fripp on guitars and keyboards, John Wetton, remarkable bassist, as well as lead vocalist, and Bill Bruford on drums, an amazing drummer. You still have Ian McDonald and Mel Collins on sax as well. So this is fantastic. Fantastic. I love it. I do have a compilation album, The Young Person's Guide to King Crimson. This would be a great introduction to King Crimson. This is a double album, 1976 release. Robert Fripp chose all the tracks for this one. This one's on the Atlantic label. But it's fantastic. Fantastic bunch of tracks on this one. The rest of the albums, you got Discipline, the eighth album, 1981 release. You've got Beat, the ninth album, 1982 release. Same lineup as Discipline with Robert Fripp, Adrian Belew, Tony Levin. What a fantastic bass player Tony Levin is. And of course Bill Bruford on drums. Three of a Perfect Pair, the 10th album. The final album to feature the lineup that I just mentioned. And then you have Thrack, the 11th album by the band, 1995 release. You've got Robert Fripp, Adrian Belew, Tony Levin, Terry Gunn, Bill Bruford, Pat Mastelotto. And this would be the last one to feature Bill Bruford and Tony Levin as well. The Construction of Light with a K is a 2000 release. The Power to Believe is the 13th and final album by the band. As far as studio albums, 2003 release. Robert Fripp, Adrian Belew on electric guitar and vocals, Pat Mastelotto on acoustic and electric drums, Terry Gunn on guitar as well. I do have Live in Toronto. This is a remarkable album, recorded at the Queen Elizabeth Theatre in Toronto, 2015. Three drummers. How can a band have three drummers and keep in sync, play each other's parts perfectly? Pat Mastelotto on drums, Bill Rieflin on drums, Gavin Harrison on drums. I mean, how many bands have three drummers? Robert Fripp on guitars. He sits in that corner on his little chair. I always butcher this gentleman's name, Jako Jakic. Remarkable vocalist, as well as amazing guitarist as well. And Tony Levin, one of the best bassists out there ever. And Mel Collins on sax and flutes. And then Audio Diary, 2014 to 2018. This was released in... when was this released? This was released 2019. This is a ton of tracks. I'm not going to read them all, but a ton of tracks. And it's got a unique design because every cover has a different photo on it. And then inside showing all the dates, the concert dates. And the nice thing about it is, as well, it's nicely packaged, because every CD has its own sleeve, and each CD has its own photo pertaining to the track listing. So there's that. Some unique photos as well. Cool artistry. Track listing as well. And then this is the third. I don't know who did the artwork, but they did a fantastic job. So there you have it, guys. There's my, does it tell me? Paintings by Francesco Sunston. There you go. But there you have it, guys. There's my King Crimson collection. As tiny as it is, it's still one of my favorite parts of my collection, as far as vinyl and CD. And I'm really anticipating this album to arrive sometime today. King Crimson's Reimagining, the Court of the Crimson King. Thank you again, Glenn, for showing that album. You didn't really encourage me to get it, but I just had to have it in my collection. So there you have it, guys. There you go, and I'll see you again soon. Love you all. We'll talk to you again. Bye-bye.